Today, we are going somewhere special. We're taking a little trip to Ken's garage. He's going to tell us all about his custom-built, Kubota-powered turbo diesel motorcycle. If you haven't seen his full interview, go down to the description. There's a link there, and that's kind of his bio, his backstory, how he got into motorcycles, and actually tells you all about how he came to be able to build this bike. Sit down, grab a cup of coffee, some juice, whatever you're drinking, and join us for this episode of Bike and Rider with Ken Bratt.
My name is Ken Bratt. I'm from Syracuse, New York, and I started riding about 1971 motorcycles.
So I met you at a bike show, and you were there showing a very unique bike. How did you come into that bike? You want to tell us a little bit about it?
Well, I was at work one day, and an equipment business, and we were repairing a pavement roller for a customer that had ethered the engine, which means they run them out of fuel and they use ether to get it running, and it'll break the rings. And so we pulled this engine out, and you don't rebuild engines anymore, you just replace them because the warranty and the cost and all that.
See.
So I had in front of me this little 3-cylinder 750cc Kubota diesel engine that's super universal, used in tons and tons of equipment.
Oh yeah.
And I see this motor sitting there, and we were just going to throw it away, and there wasn't much wrong with it, so I could fix it myself. Wouldn't take much at all. We wouldn't have fixed it for the customer because it wouldn't be warranted.
Right.
So I had a flashback from my youth. It's like, I got to do something with this motor. And at the time, I had a Harley 62 Duoglide Panhead sitting in the garage, and so I start measuring things up, the size of the frame, and trying to see if I could fit this into a Harley frame. And sure enough, it looked like a perfect fit. So I've got the motor, got it running, that's no problem. So I found on eBay this rigid frame that it was like a rolling frame, had the wheels and the tank, had a transmission. It was a Ultima brand, which is a Harley aftermarket type thing.
Okay.
So here's with a Springer front end. So here's a whole bike frame that this motor would fit in there perfectly, And so I went ahead and bought it, and got it in here, and I just started piecing it together, made up my own motor mounts. I had to
here?
Well, what we have here is a conglomeration of parts. This motor, Kubota 3-cylinder, came out of a road roller I came across at work that just seemed like a perfect engine that would fit in a motorcycle, right size. So then I come across this rigid frame. It's an Ultima brand, something on eBay. It had the rolling, had the tank and wheels and all that, but it's basically stripped.
Yeah.
So I pieced them together. I had to make my own motor mounts. I put in some extra guards here to protect some things, but it's got the open belt drive over on the other side, and I could utilize the one that came with the transmission, but I had to mount a pulley on the front flywheel for that. I had to fabricate my exhaust, of course the motor mounts. Got a battery hiding up inside what used to be an oil tank. This oil is kept in the engine. That engine will hold 4 quarts of oil.
Yeah.
But you got to have a big battery for a diesel engine.
So it's hiding under that Frankenhog sticker?
Yes. Yeah, and all my wiring, I had to make a wiring harness to power up this. I've got a voltmeter, I've got an amp meter, it's alternator, it's got full electronics, got an exhaust temperature gauge, because it was experimental. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't want to melt anything.
Yeah.
We got a turbo tucked back here, and that gives me about 4 or 5 pounds of boost, which is all this little engine really needs. You know, it rolls along just fine. And down here is the scavenge pump that, as the oil drains out of it, you got to get it back to the engine. So it just circulates that. Got an oil pressure gauge over here. Of course, is my shutoff. This got the fuel injector pump. This doesn't have any of the new DEF or any of that stuff. It's just old school fuel injection with injectors. That radiator is something I found that come from a Yamaha Banshee.
Oh yeah, you mentioned that earlier.
Plenty of cooling. I've got a radiator mounted up in here. I mean, a fan for the radiator, so it will come on if you're sitting in traffic. Not that I like to be in traffic, but it'll automatically come on just if you don't have enough air moving through it. But it doesn't seem to need it.
Take this one out?
I like to take it to shows. I mean, I'll take it around the block, do a few miles on it. I've had it down the interstate before. It'll get about 72 miles an hour, and it has mechanical governor, so it won't go any faster than that. And it's a 5-speed, and it does really well all the way through the first 4 gears. That last gear takes a little bit longer, but once you get it up to speed rolling along, you know, it holds the hills just fine and stuff. But it does get about 100 miles a gallon for fuel.
Wow.
So it does. It's very,
but it's
very
all
efficient.
diesel. So, I mean, diesel would get a little bit more, but man, 100 miles a gallon?
Yes.
How many gallons can that tank hold?
It's like a Sportster type size. It's only about a 2-gallon tank. I took it on the Antique Club road run several years ago, and they followed me and brought a little extra diesel. I did 100 miles one day on it, and you know, it didn't hardly take a gallon.
Yeah,
so
that's funny.
Yep.
Brought some extra fuel too.
But it's, even though it's pretty stripped down and basic, it has like everything you need. I've got a speedometer with tachometer on here, and it shows me my temperature, so I can keep an eye on everything. This is off a dirt bike, actually, for all your trip.
Yeah, it looks
your
very
Enduro
clean.
bikes. Well, it's got the extra. You can shine up regular parts, that with just a little bit of buffing. But that way you kind of know exactly, you know, how healthy everything is. I don't like to break down. You know, I like to see what's going on.
Right. Yeah.
So that's worked out really well.
Reassuring.
One thing about the tachometer is they work off a spark plug. Well, a diesel engine does not have spark plugs. They don't have ignition. So I came up with after my own little plan. This is a ignition coil from a steel demo saw. And I got some magnets mounted in here. So this actually gives me a pulse that the tachometer will read from. So that's just basically a tach drive is what that is together.
Very cool.
So
can you tell me about this front end? Man, the front end of this bike looks fantastic.
it's just a Springer front end. That's just what, you know, it works just fine. It's just the way the bike came. Like I say, it's Ultima is the brand name. They sell things, but it's to copy what Harley did.
Yeah, yeah.
But you know, the brakes it's got disc front and rear, so it stops just fine. It's got plenty of braking. It's not the lightest bike. I think it's about 500 pounds. So the diesel engines are heavy. You know, it's all cast iron.
Yeah, for sure.
But let's see, what else can I tell you about this?
How long ago did you build this?
I started on this in 2018, and I think within a year I had it going up and down the road. And at that point I realized, you know, it was going to work out. It was balanced just right, and I had to change my rear sprocket, tweak that just a little bit. But then I found the turbo. I got that mounted in there, so I had to totally rework the exhaust system. The exhaust pipe originally came right off this other side, you know, so then I kind of worked it through, and you got to get a little creative fitting and cutting, and, you know, I mean, I'm a welder, but I'm not the best, and I can't say enough about a flap wheel. You can do some ugly welds and clean them up, and they look great.
I know all about it. I know all about it.
So, but you know, it's got the original water pump built in here, so that runs nice. The original dynamo alternator here works good. Here's a couple horns that came off some Harley shovel heads. So it's got a good sound system on it. Tell people get out of your way.
Awesome.
The sound, it doesn't have a muffler, but it's not too loud. It sounds just like a diesel truck going by.
Because the turbo
that
helps
helps a little bit. But diesels typically aren't that loud unless you get the big pipes that megaphone. It doesn't do that.
I've got a video of it starting up.
So where did the name Frankenhog come in?
My brother thought that up. He just took it for a spin, and it's basically a hog, and it's just a whole bunch of parts thrown together, and a lot of homemade brackets and supports,
right?
Oil lines. It's just everything's custom.
So do you have a title for it?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. See, the frame, actually, that was a challenge getting the title. Most people that build they buy the frame and they'll put a Harley. The guy I bought it from had an Evo motor in it, and they will register it through the motor, the serial number on the motor. Well, he didn't sell me the motor, and so he didn't have a title for it. But I contacted the factory that made it, which they have a certificate of origin.
Oh, cool.
And the guy that actually sold it just happened to have it in a file. This is a 2008 model. So 10 years later, he said, let me look in the file and see if I've got that. And sure enough, he just mailed it to me.
That's awesome.
So I got the title for it, for the frame. So it's all legit.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So you've got it this far. And you've had it for a little while. You said 2018 it started.
Yeah.
Do you have any little tweaks you think you might make in the future?
I think it's in pretty good shape. I have experimented with propane.
Really?
A lot of people aren't familiar with propane with a diesel engine, but a lot of your hot rod diesel trucks will have a propane add-on kit, and it boosts and produces a little bit more power. So actually I did fabricate a bracket and a tank and mounted it over here inside, and I plumbed it in to a little valve here, and I took it down the road, and I just would manually crack that valve open, and it just didn't produce enough to notice.
Yeah.
So I figured it wasn't really worth it, and then you're messing with things behind your back, and
the addition of the tank.
I think what it would need is a bigger regulator, something with more flow.
Okay.
So, but I figure it runs great the way it is, and I mean it's balanced so well that 50, 60 miles an hour is just fun, and plus it's a hardtail, so you want to be real careful.
Yeah.
You want to be paying attention to potholes, because I used to be a couple inches taller, and it compressed my back. I wasn't paying attention, and I don't know why some people are so into hardtails.
Me either. Not for me.
But and I really wished I found a frame that had suspension on the back, but as it worked out, this made it a lot easier. Having travel, and it takes up a lot of space.
Oh yeah, just for simplicity.
And it'd be a heavier frame. So this actually worked out very well.
And it is more of a show bike, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's very practical. It runs great. After about 10 minutes, but it still vibrates less than a lot of your 80s model Harleys.
Yeah.
But it's a solid mounted engine, and transmission, everything.
So have you won some trophies with this thing?
Oh yeah. It's funny, but I've lost several contests to bikes that had more bolt-on aftermarket parts.
Yeah.
And you can't go to a show expecting to win, because what people look at, a lot of people hem and haw. It's nice going to the bike shop. People come out, look at it.
Yeah.
I really enjoy, answering questions. But when it comes to judging, they're looking at just a lot of big chrome wheels, a lot of things that aren't practical, bolt-on parts.
Right.
But that's what most people know, and it's what they're thinking of.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I've debated maybe coming up with some, it's Kubota, maybe if I had an orange tank with some really nice mural painting on it. It
Yeah.
had some little theme going on,
Something
more
to spice it up.
tractorish, but it has a lot of torque, so it's kind of like a tractor. I even thought of putting a belly motor under it somehow, but it sits kind of low, and it may be good for golf course greens. So, but I don't know if I'll get to that. I'll probably take on a new project. Not sure what it is
Just
yet.
See what comes your way,
Just
right?
wait and see. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Ken. I really appreciate you taking the time with me.
My pleasure.
Thank you very much. And thank you guys for joining us for another episode of Bike and Rider. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. Live free, ride hard. I'll see y'all on the next one.